Hey everybody, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. My name is Vincent Name here, and today we'll be taking a look at the day and night cycle with a moon, stars, and an event system, and it will also allow you to input real world positions so you can actually accurately recreate real world lighting scenarios, which is super cool. Episode 1 should be the moon and the cycle. Part 2 should be the stars, and part 3 is going to be the event system. So without further ado, let's get in all 3 parts. I'm not going to have an intro for part 2 or 3, but they'll be uploaded at precisely the same time. So let's get into the video. So here we have a basic first person template, nothing too different, it's just, well, the basic template. We're gonna make a few adjustments before we actually get into the day and night cycle. We're just gonna go ahead and delete the arena walls, so we can actually see the sunset and sunrise a bit better. And then we're also gonna go ahead and delete the first person template text. And now that we've done that, we're ready to go. So we're gonna go to edit, go to plugins, and search for the sun position calculator. Now you just want to enable that. This helps us to calculate the sun's position with real world values like latitude and longitude and time zones, and yeah, it's just really cool. So we're just gonna install this and restart now. Just save your level. Okay, now that we're back in the plugin screen, you just want to close that down. What you want to do is you just want to go ahead and in Unreal Engine 5, when you're at the content browser, you want to click on the settings cog here with settings as text. On UE4, you want to press the button on screen. You find it in the top left. But here in UE5, you just click the settings button and you want to show engine content. And you also want to show plugin content. So we're going to go to engine content folder and search for the sphere underscore inverse normals. And this is a sphere, but with the outer parts of the sphere actually on the inside. So we can just drag this to the content folder and copy it. It's important that you copy and not move. We're gonna copy all 3 of these things we're copying, and we're not gonna move a single one. So we also want to look for stars. So you're going to see this texture sky stars. This is stars in the engine. Now you can also use your own image of stars. I just find this a bit easier. Just going to go ahead and drag it to content folder and use copy. And I'm also going to remove the text at the search bar so we don't search anything. So we can see all the folders. You're going to scroll all the way down until you find the S's, because we want the sun position content folder. Just open that up. Now the BP sun position is the same concept, it's just it uses the Skysphere blueprint, the old system we used to use for the atmosphere. But the sun sky actually uses the new atmosphere system, which I'm more of a fan of. So I'm gonna be going with this one. So the sun sky, we just want to, okay, we don't want to drag that yet. Just want to go ahead and go to the content folder, but not click it. And you want to drag the sun sky in the content folder. And you want to copy it here. Important, we just want to copy stuff. Now go back to the content folder, go to our settings or the button in UE4 I showed, and just turn off show engine content and show plugin content. Now we're just going to go ahead and take our sun sky and rename it to BP custom sun sky. Perfect. And now you just want to file and save all. And now you just want to go ahead and go to our BP custom sun sky. Open it up, and we're going to dock that in the main window. And well, we can adjust all the event graph and stuff. We're going to do that pretty soon, because I want to make a change here. I'm actually going to go to the viewport. Now if we go to the viewport, it looks like a flash ban in CSGO, or Yin had a bit of a fun time in Siege. But the reason for this is because the directional light, if you click on the directional light on components, you'll see it has intensity of 75,000 lux, which is a lot. We actually want to change this value to 2.75, so it actually represents a normal sun. I'm also gonna up the source angle. If you're wondering what the source angle does, well, this is kind of how big the fin is. I like it at 5 for the sun. And now while we're here, we can actually go take a look at the day and night cycle by going to the BP custom sun sky. And here at the solar time, we can actually adjust the values. So here we can see a sunrise, and then we can go here and just move up here, and now we can see a sunset. Now, while this is pretty cool, if we actually go to night, there's not a singular moon. So we're gonna have to fix that. Just want to set the solar time to 6.5. So you should see the sun kind of rising here, but not actually rising here. Then we're gonna go ahead, go to the directional light of the sun, and add a new directional light as a child. This is important. You can call this the moon because it's gonna be, well, the moon. So here the light intensity, you want to make it a low value. You can use 0.4, anything very small, just usually under 1 lux really does it. I usually like 0.8. I really like the moon then. I'm gonna adjust the source angle to be pretty big. But before we set the other settings, we're just gonna actually see how the moon looks. How we do that? Well, we scroll all the way down in the details under atmosphere and cloud. You just want to turn on atmosphere sunlight, cast shadows on clouds, cast shadows on atmosphere, cast cloud shadows, and then you want to go to the you want to click the down arrow. I have to be more specific. Click this down arrow, and then you'll find the atmosphere sunlight index. You just want to put that to 1, because 0 is actually the sun. Now we can see the sun got brighter, but it isn't a moon. The reason for this is that they're both on the same direction. So you just want to go ahead and scroll to the moon and make sure its pitch rotation is 180. Now you should see, yeah, there's the sun, there's the moon, and there's the sun. Now if I go ahead, go to my BB custom sun sky, and I move the solar time up, you should see, yeah, here's the moon, and there's the moon. Now the solar time isn't really good, because it only goes from 4 to 22, and while we could fix this, I'm actually gonna go ahead and replace the time system this fin uses, because I find that a bit better than using solar time. So you can just compile and save. Over here, you're just gonna take this directional light, the first one, and rename it to sun. Now it's gonna glitch a bit, just hit compile and it will fix again. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I just, this is clean up, but the reason I'm gonna switch the time fin is, like I said, way easier to work with. So what do I mean with change the time? Well, currently we give this time a solar time, which is 0 to 24, but with decimals. Now I want to give this a precise minute, second, and hour count so it knows how to change the sun. So we just want to take this solar time and replace it with other variables. So to do that, we gotta replace all the references. So we're just gonna go ahead and create variables and new ones. We're gonna create a new variable for our hours, and we're going to switch it from boolean to integer, and just want to add 2 other variables, one for minutes and one for seconds. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rename this minutes, and rename the one under that, and not find references, just want seconds. I'm gonna close the find results window, compile and save. Now we're gonna go to our event graph and fix all these references. Now here in the event graph, there's actually this fin where it checks every tick if the time changed, and thus it will actually go ahead and update the sun. Now it's using the solar time, which we don't want, so you just want to go to the solar time, delete that, and add 2 pins, so it's a total of 3 extra pins. Then you want to drag the hours in, get hours, drag the minutes, get minutes, and then you want to drag in the seconds, get seconds. And then you just want to go ahead and just clean that up. tidy it up a bit. Just make this comment block a bit bigger. Then you want to drag in the hours, move that down, plug in the minutes, move that down, plug in the seconds, and finally move that down. And this is pretty spiffy already. Now if we go to the update sun, we'll see there's actually, here at the beginning, there's a place where we use the solar time. This is a conversion we're not going to be needing anymore because we're going to give it hours, minutes, seconds. We don't want to convert to solar time or convert from solar time. You can just delete both of these. And then here at the hour, minutes, and seconds, we just take our hours, take our minutes, and we take our seconds, and we just plug it in. Now just drag it around to clean it up a bit. This is cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Now I just want to go ahead and drag in the get sun position execution pin to the sequence den one. You can also move this closer now that there isn't any more nodes there. Yeah, this is looking clean. Now there's one more place where we actually use the solar time. If we go to is DST or is daylight savings time, go open up that event, we'll see, yeah, there's in fact 2 places where we use this. 1 place actually, sorry. So you just want to delete this get HMS from solar time and then plug in the isDST, just plug that execution pin all the way to this return node. Now we're going to fix those references here by plugging in the hours in the hour, plugging the minutes into the minute, plugging the seconds into the second. So now that that's fixed up, we don't use that anywhere here. Now we've actually changed the code in a good way, but before we can actually see how we changed it in a good way, just want to go ahead and look at the hours, minutes, and seconds and tick this I button, which just makes it instance editable. If you can see, yeah, it's instance editable. I just want to do that for each singular one here of these 3 variables. And then we're also going to put in ranges, so it can't go out of a certain range by mistake. So let's go to hours. And the slider range should be 0 to 23. If we are 24 hours, that means it's a new day. So just want to go the value range 0 to 23. And then you want to go to the minutes. And this will be 0 to 59. The value range will be 0 to 59. And then also for the seconds, you want the same amount. Like I said, if this hits 60, then it's already a minute. So we don't want to have 60 as a possible variable. I can just compile and save that. We'll also move the time in here, move the minutes in here, and move the seconds in here. Compile and save. Now we want to actually move this custom sun sky into our level so we can actually test this. So what you can do is you can just take the BP custom sun sky and drag it into the scene. Now if we go look at all the cubes, it has weird lighting hook to it. Some shadows have double shadows and the lighting's very weird, and the reason for this is we're actually clashing the new atmosphere system with the old one we used to use. So look in the scene, there's this sky sphere blueprint. Be sure to delete that. And then you also want to delete the atmospheric fog, which is the hugest clashing thing. Remove the skylight and remove the light source. And now it's a bit dark, and the reason for this is if we go to the BP custom sun sky, you'll see the time is well, nothing. So if we go ahead and push the hours forward, let's say 9 PM, and about 30 minutes in. Now if I adjust the minutes, the hours or seconds, you'll see there's this weird glitching. And the reason for that is if we go to the BP custom sky and go to the viewport, if we click on the sun, and we scroll all the way down till we find atmosphere and cloud, these 3 settings are actually very important. You want to turn on cast shadows on clouds, cast shadows on atmosphere, and cast cloud shadows. You want to compile and save. Now if we go ahead and adjust the hours, Now it won't have that weird glitching anymore. And now that we've gotten this date and time, before we actually wait, there's something I want to do. I want to delete the solar time now that we don't reference it anymore. Okay, compile and save. And yeah, now we have these variables to play around with, which is nice. If I go to 12 p.m, you can see the sun there. Or the moon, I mean. That's really cool. We're going to be customizing these two later on. We're just going to code in the general day and night cycle quickly. So we're going to go ahead and right click the content browser and create a new blueprint class. This will be of type game state base. I'm going to be saving the time in the game state, but you could save it anywhere you want. I just think it fits in the game state. So I'm just going to name this BP custom game state. I'm going to open that up. Okay, now I'm going to go to event graph. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to add a variable called time of day in seconds, because I want to calculate the time of day in seconds. It's very easy and you'll see why pretty soon. So the variable type should be integer. We don't want any floats here. Just compile and save that. And I'm also gonna go ahead and delete this event tick. We don't want tick because I'm actually gonna use a timer as tick. I just find it a bit better. So in the begin play, you just want to drag out the execution pin and search. I think it's get timer. Actually, just search timer, set timer by event. Sorry. And I just want to drag off this event delegate and create a new custom event. So it's named add custom event. Now I'm gonna call this time update, which this because this updates the time cycle. Now while we're here, we can take this time here and promote it to a variable. Now I'm gonna name this time amount to tick a second. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this time and divide. So I'm gonna take this amount to tick a second and divide 1. Now the reason for this is this means you can just type how many times you want this to update a second, and then it's gonna do the math and actually put it here. It's just, you could directly put in time there, but this is just easier to go ahead and adjust the timer. So amount to tick a second, if I compile and save, I can type in a value of how many times it has to tick a second. So if I type 60, it's gonna update 60 times a second. And now we're also gonna go here to this loop and tick this on. This is very important. This is the thing that actually makes sure the system works. So please don't forget this. Now, the first thing we're gonna do in time update is take our time of day in seconds and set it to our time of day in seconds plus amount we want to add on each tick. So we're gonna go ahead and promote this to a variable. Amount of seconds to add per tick. So yeah, this is amounts of seconds to add per tick. If we compile and save, let's say every tick we add 60 seconds, which means that every second we waste this amount of time. So this is how many seconds passes away. I'm gonna put it on 60 for now. You can adjust these values like you want time to flow. You can make time go real time. It's just basic math here. But we also want to run a branch node. So drag out here. We're gonna drag it quite a bit because we want to put a lot of code here. Just want to use a branch node. What we want to do is if our time of day in seconds is at the end of a day, we just want to restart the day. So we just want to take our amount of seconds to add per tick. No, we want our time of day in seconds. Get that. Now for the time of day in seconds, ever equals the max time, then we should reset time. So just want to make sure that it's bigger and equal, so we don't cause any overflows in the future or any weird stuff. That's perfect. Now time of day in seconds. Now we have to calculate how many seconds there are on a day. Well, that's pretty easy. There's 24 hours in a day times 60 minutes an hour times 60 seconds an hour, which means this is the end value. So if this is true, then we should take our time of day in seconds and set it to 0. So now we've reset the day. Now you're probably wondering, hey, why did you make this huge open spot here? Well, we're actually gonna have to go and write our values to the BP custom sun sky. Before we can really do that, we should cast and convert the seconds into time, which this custom sun sky will understand. So first, the cast. We have to go to our begin player and drag this out a bit. Now I want to go ahead and get actor of class. Now this get actor of class, the reason why we're using a get actor and not actors is because we just want a singular custom sun sky. You should only have one per level. There shouldn't be more as one per level. So now in the actor class, you just want to search BP custom sun sky, and that's what you want to cast it. And this return value, you just want to go ahead and cast to BP custom sun sky. I just want to plug that execution pin in, and there's this as BP custom sun sky. Just want to go ahead and promote that to a variable. We're just gonna go ahead and name this sun sky, because that's easier. And then you want to plug in the set timer by event. Perfect. Now, if we go ahead and... Okay, well, now we have to think, right? The reason why we actually took the sun sky is because we want to go ahead and directly input values into the hours, minutes, and seconds. Now, how we're going to do that? Well, it's simple. You just got to take our sun sky, use a get node, then we just pull out of this and set hours, and then we also make a set minutes, and then we make a set seconds. Perfect. Now we can just go ahead and just line these up so we have a cleaner node tree. Just plug them all into each other so they update each other. Want to drag this time of day and seconds in here. Just want to drag the set node to the branch node. I'm also going to go ahead and move this a bit to the right. Now this time of day in seconds, you're probably wondering, hey, what math do we have to do to get this time of day in seconds into something that the sun sky will understand? Well, actually, if we go ahead and take our time of day in seconds and drag out of it and make time span, and we just want to alt click on the line between the set time of day in seconds and days so that it has nothing connected. And you want to take the time of day in seconds and plug it into seconds. Now what this will do is it will take every single second, and if a second is 60, then it will actually increment minutes, and if minutes are 60, then it will increment hours. So it converts seconds into a perfect time span, which is what we need. So this return value, we'll just go ahead and break it. Break time span. Now we have it as a singular multiple values. So hours, okay, just don't want to drag it out like that. Hours will go to set hours, minutes will go into set minutes, and seconds will go into set seconds. Now you can go ahead and add reroute nodes, clean this up a bit. There's really a lots of ways to clean up blueprints and help make them more readable. And I could explain each and every way you can do that, but we're going to be here quite further. But we're just going to do this basic cleanup, and that already looks pretty decent. And so yeah, now we already have the day and night cycle ready to go. So you can just go ahead, compile, and save. And now we can just go ahead and go to edit, go to project settings. Want to go to maps and modes, we want to go to our game state class, and we change this to BP custom game state because we're using our own game state. Now you just want to go to your first person example map, and now if I set the time to 0 and 0, and I hit play, it should go ahead. Yeah, there the moon goes, does its thing for the morning, and then it sets, and then the sun comes out on the other side, and the daylight is very bright. So that's already super cool. But this is still not the full potential we can reach with this system. We can go higher and go better. And for the next part in this video, I'll actually show you how we can go ahead, add clouds, add stars, and also fix a tiny quirk with our time. So what's that tiny quirk before I go? Well, if we go ahead and increment the hours, let's say it's about 10 AM. We set the 10 AM here. If I go ahead and play, it's gonna work, but it's gonna set the time to 0 because we told it to do that in our custom game state. So we're just gonna have to go ahead and write code here, which will stop doing that. But that's for the next part. Really can't wait to see you guys in the next part. I'm really hyped about this. I've been spending quite a lot of time getting this to work, but I'm really happy with the end results I get at the end of this series. So without further ado guys, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. Hit like if you liked the video, hit dislike if you didn't, and please subscribe if you can. And yeah, good night everybody.